fellow female activists and some of the 90 million who did not vote. Hi, hello, Cathy here. We're in our wellness playlist today, and we're talking about nourishment. That is the subcategory. And today we're talking about going from raw to ultra processed foods and like the in between, right? Like how best to fuel your body. So we always start with our positive quotient repetitions. Positive quotient repetitions, or PQ reps. So this will be a quick one. But I want us, if you can, if you feel safe, go ahead and close your eyes. And go ahead and take 2 fingers and rub them together with such intention that you can feel your fingertip ridges. Maybe you can feel your fingerprints. Now, whether you're sitting or standing, doesn't matter, laying down even, go ahead and notice your seat. So if you're standing, you're not going to necessarily feel it, but you will feel the engagement of your seat. So your seat, okay, your bottom. Feel it, the weight against whatever it's on. If you're sitting or laying down, if you're standing, really think about and feel the sensation of your seat. Can you feel it helping you balance if you're standing? When you're sitting or laying down, you can actually feel the weight of it, right? You can feel it being held up by what's underneath it. Now go ahead and take your fingertips, and let's go ahead and softly draw them against another item or part of you. Doesn't matter. It can be whatever you're sitting on. It can be your own body. And just feel those sensations. Are you creating any friction? Are you feeling any warmth? What's the texture? And if you want, go ahead and change what you're feeling with those fingertips. And now, let's go ahead and try to feel our breath, meaning through your nose, you inhale, and then you exhale through your nose. See if you can tell the difference. There is a difference. When you breathe in, the air will feel a little cooler. And then when you exhale through your nose, you might find that it feels a little warmer. And when you're ready, if you close your eyes, go ahead and bring them back. And let me just say that this is some wonderful way to get past a lot of the craziness right now. Those are PQ reps, and you can absolutely connect with me so you can find out how you can learn how to do that and become a master at it, because there's a lot more to it. So I'm going to share my screen because I'm going to be showing you 2 different PDFs. So I am a wellness coach. I'm a healthy eating and weight loss coach. That's the official title, but I call myself a wellness coach, health coach. And the info you're going to see is from the association that I actually am part of. And the reason why I want to bring this to you is because we're talking about, again, nourishment, right? So nourishment is your subject today, but the actual idea between understanding what it means to be going from one extreme to the other. So on one side, you have raw items, okay? items that you can eat that have not been processed in any way, shape, or form. You would pick an apple off a tree, right? Or, you find a mushroom and you hopefully clean it and then you eat the fungi. That's raw. Versus on the very other end, where you have something that's been packaged, it's been packaged over and over again, and then you consume it. It is as far away from probably an apple as you ever want to be. Like there is applesauce that really should not be called applesauce. So we're going to talk about that. But I want to show you in a specific way what I mean by going from raw to ultra processed. And this is important because your nourishment, I'm never going to tell you exactly how to eat, but I'm going to give you recommendations, right? So with that, I'm going to share my screen and you're going to see a pyramid, or at least you should. All right, so this is the pyramid of integrated nutrition, okay? And I like to use nourishment. Why? Because nutrition is seen as something very far off, like something that you would only read in a book. And yes, I got this from a book. But all that said, when we talk about nourishment, we can at least bring that to mind because people don't associate food with nourishment. They just think it's food. Nourishment is anything that we put in our body as well as on our body. Okay. So I want you to start, that's what the words I use are very distinct. And I want you to really think about the words that I use because I am so far beyond what the health and fitness industry believes is proper wording. Like they're all about, again, feeding an industry that didn't have everyone's actual health necessarily in mind. It was all about marketing. It was all about dollars, right? Those of us who want to get a better outcome for all of you really have your best interest in mind. And so it's boring. But if I can find any way, shape, or form to make this a little bit more interesting, then I'm going to go for it. So what you see here is, again, an integration of nutrition. So much like, let's say, how you see society, like, all that good stuff. What is it? Maslow's, hierarchy of needs, so forth and so on. This is that similar thinking. In this case, though, we're talking about nutrition. In my case, nourishment. So it says here in the greenish, color that you have must-haves, meaning what keeps us alive. Then you have going from unprocessed, right, to lightly processed. And then we really should just get rid of or try to reduce at all cost type of stuff. Hopefully you can see this. I can get it a little bit bigger. I just wanted to make sure you saw where that came from. And no, it looks a little weird. I don't want to necessarily mess with anything. So we'll keep it. All right. So the must-haves. So there is a reason why I have my 5 pillars, for wellness. The first one is hydration. Well, I wonder why. So nourishment is a must-have, and it comes from water. Okay. Water keeps us alive. Then we actually, yes, vegetables are carbs, all right? Carbohydrates are vegetables. And then you can see here, preferably raw, and then or lightly cooked. So again, this is where we're going from not just the hierarchy of the type of nourishment you really want to have optimal health, but actually the progression of from raw to processed, right? And it says here, vegetables, preferably raw or lightly cooked. So water, right? You should just be having water. Now you can infuse your water, right? Hopefully not with anything sugary, but preferably maybe even some vegetables, right? You can put fruits and veggies in the water and it will infuse it. So again, water, however you want to make it pretty without throwing too many artificial items in it, go for it. Then you can go into the must-haves. Again, carbohydrates are some of your macronutrients. So you require carbohydrates. Vegetables are carbohydrates. You want a lot of vegetables. So preferably raw, again, or lightly cooked. Then we move up the chain, right? The pyramid, and we have plant protein. So legumes, nuts, seeds. Now keep in mind though, these again are technically healthy fats. Okay, well, not legumes, but actually legumes. Believe it or not, a peanut is a legume. It's not a nut. So these all can actually be also be healthy fats if you look at it that way. But then you get into healthy fats. Okay, so now we're in the yellow. So we're moving from just raw, let's say, and now we're moving to as little as processed as possible to lightly processed. So we have animal protein, again, because you're not, if you eat animal products, right, you're not eating it like raw in most cases, right? You're somehow cooking it. You can, right? Sushi is raw, but in some cases, you don't want to eat whatever you're going to eat unless it's cooked. So animal product, no, notice how it says enjoy unprocessed or lightly processed, but notice something. Where is the animal protein? Right. It's not now, and I will say that it's from Canada. Okay. So my designation comes from CanFit Pro. More on that at another time. But they finally, and I will show you what I'm talking about after this, but they finally were able to get a realistic and very true to what health and wellness experts really do believe is a better um, food diagram. So healthy fats, as I was saying, and then we get into animal protein and then fruit. Okay, so fruit is awesome, preferably if you can get it unprocessed, right? But there are a lot of sugars. Now, again, I prefer fructose over anything. So if you want to eat a lot of fruit, go for it, right? Because I'm sure you're going to burn off that glucose at some point. But fruit, okay, enjoy, unprocessed as much as possible or lightly processed. Then we get into grains. Okay, now look at, now we're getting into reduce or eliminate. So grains are awesome. Again, they're carbohydrates. And if you eat too many, it can cause some spiking, right, in your A1C. Then we have moderately processed and highly processed in the reduce or eliminate. This, they're basically telling you, you shouldn't really eat. Let me put it this way. If it did not come from another creature, i.e., if it was not born and had a mama, and or if it didn't come from the ground, you really should not be eating it. And how do you mean, Cathy? Well, anything in your cupboard, in your pantry, that is not perishable and is living in a box of some sort or some type of packaging, that's probably not just lightly processed, it's probably highly processed. Okay. And that means that it's as far away from its originator than just like that. So, why do I share this with you? Because nourishment, okay, nourishment is not about punishment. All right. So, I'm not telling you not to eat grains. Guess what? I love bread. There's a psychological reason for that, but we won't go in there. I love grains. I love fruit. And so I probably eat more this of the grains and fruit, probably a lot more by the plant protein part. All right. So it's to me, it's like a must have. But what I'm getting at is that you get to choose what's going to be best for you, right? But understand what we need is quite different than what we usually see available to us readily. Okay. Whether that's in a snack machine, right? A vending machine, whether we go to, unfortunately, most of the uh, the North American, I don't like to use America because that wasn't the original name, right, of this humongous continent. But anyway, North American diet, standard diet, right, is highly processed. But if you go to, say, like Japan, their kids in school actually make their meals, their own meals. They are taught through schooling how to prepare food, how to grow the food, how to prepare it, and then they eat it and they're nourished by it. So I want you to keep in mind that anyone who says that the US is like number one in everything, well, I hate to tell you this, but it's not true. So enough with this one. So we're going to stop sharing this. All right. So the pyramid integrated nutrition. The reason why I showed you this is to give you an example of, again, what it means to be not processed or raw versus what you should do when it's highly processed. Okay. So we're going to stop sharing, and then I'm going to open up what I believe is the coolest ever health guide. So this is again from Canada. And it was instituted, I believe, in 2018. I could be wrong, but it is their food guide. So ours is usually a pyramid, I believe, in the US, but in this case, I'm going to share um, the Canadian food guide. All right, so you can see here, right? Canada's food guide. All right, so right off the back, you're going to notice something. So here, they finally won the lobby. I shouldn't say that. I should say that the lobby has finally lost in the dairy industry, and water is now the drink of choice. Unlike in the US, where our food guide still shows milk, and really it shouldn't be. So make water your drink of choice. What has Cathy been saying? Yeah, make water your choice. So water, okay, hydration. Then when you get this whole little, so it says eat a variety of healthy foods each day. So if you were to look at our, and I'm not going to show you this because it's BS, but what I want to give you that visual, and it does it very well here. What does it say right there? Have plenty of vegetables and fruits. Now remember, on that other pyramid, it was saying how, even raw fruits were in the like, tread lightly type of area, not the must-haves. But again, however you believe you can fit this in, look at this. Half the plate is fruits and veggies. What are those? Those are carbs. The demon word, carbs. Yes. Veggies and fruit are carbohydrates. You need carbohydrates. These are simple carbohydrates. These are complex carbohydrates. But guess what? They are whole grain foods and they are good for you in moderation. So notice something. Look again. Half the plate is fruits and veggies. And I should say veggies and fruit, right? This is only, what would that be, a quarter? Yeah, I'm going to say it's a quarter is the whole grains, okay? And notice the whole grains I showed you. It's not white rice. It's whole grain rice, right? Then it looks like quinoa, and then whole wheat bread, multigrain bread maybe. This, I'm not sure what that is. And then we have some pasta of some sort. And it looks like a whole grain pasta. Then the last quarter is our proteins. So what of our macronutrients? They are water, believe it or not. And then it's proteins. And then you have carbohydrates. Then you have healthy fats and fiber. Okay. Some people don't include fiber, but fiber is important. Guess what? Fiber is in most of this stuff. Yeah. All of this has fiber. So then eat your protein. What do you notice about this? Just like in that pyramid I showed you, look at how little red meat there is. Why? Because it's been processed, but it's also not the best way to absorb protein, okay? Same with this. They didn't have the whole egg. They had a slice of it. Now again, you can say what you want. I love this guide. And when you look at it this way, you learn the framework of why your macronutrients matter, okay? And then you can take it down to the granular, which is the micronutrients, but I won't go there. What I'm getting at is that when you eat the rainbow, okay, quite literally, you're getting probably quite enough of everything if you're just thinking about how can I make this more colorful, right? Too many times, the North American standard diet, even in Canada, happens to be very beige looking. And why is that? Well, because what are people looking at? They're going to the frozen food section. They're hitting up every fast food joint they can think of. And what do those foods look like? They're processed. And that has taken away most of their, if ever, natural color. So what I end with here is when you want nourishment, okay, you want to think about, at the very least, how far or how long did it take this one item to go from being raw to now what I see in this box or in this container, right? Whatever it is. Again, the more processed it is, the less nutrients it actually has. And so why wouldn't you just go get some fresh fruit, which is going to be cheaper than the box version of that applesauce, which has been unfortunately processed over and over again. You can make your own applesauce. Let's say, all I'm saying is when you want to eat, at least with intention, think about, again, on that pyramid where the foods are that you usually eat, we're sitting, and then go another step and say, okay, from that food guide, how can I possibly make better decisions? And guess what? It doesn't even have to be the best decision every single day at every meal. No, maybe you decide, okay, you know what? For breakfast tomorrow, I'm going to see how I can eat more of a rainbow. And then you go a whole week and then you decide, oh, you know what? That breakfast was pretty okay. Let me see if I can do it for 2 days in a row. You get what I'm saying? Baby steps will get you better nourishment and it will actually expand your taste palette because you're going to experiment with food that you otherwise would not have tried. All right. So again, nourishment comes down to how far has it gone from being raw to process? And then where on that pyramid is it a must have like water? Or is it a highly processed? I really should not be doing this for sake of my A1C floating too high. You get what I'm saying, though. You absolutely have the power and you have the knowledge and you have the information out there. If you want expert advice that can help you rein in all your maybe not so wonderful habits, but we can also then insert better habits and make sure that you're moving towards your more healthy goals. With that, I assure you that I am glad that you're here and I look forward to hearing you. Let me know what you think in the comments, okay? And we'll talk next time. Take care, take charge. God bless.